Fit for Life Radio, episode 192. Gary here.
Will here. Damn, we're going to hit 200 by the end of the year.
Yeah, just about.
Dang, 200. Do we get a shirt?
200 episodes.
200 episodes, like our 200 workout shirts.
200 downloads. 200 episodes.
200 episodes.
We download each one. That's the 200 downloads. Today we're going to be talking about, we're doing a research review, issue number 77 on the Precision Nutrition Academy. Senior strength training, keep it simple. And yeah, when we start diving into this one, it's just...
It really is near and dear to our heart because it's stuff that we've just been banging our heads against the wall.
Feels good.
Trying to get people to get.
Yeah.
It feels good to be validated, you know?
And reinforce some things that we want people to know that go a long way. So what they did was there was a study in 2022.
It's recent, baby.
Mm-hmm.
It's in old news.
And the title of it was, a lot of people just go for walks and don't do anything else.
Which is true.
We know going for walks is good. And this was done in the UK, but they have the same
standards,
physical activity guidelines as us, which we've talked about numerous times. Essentially the, walk minutes, move minutes, plus the 2 full body resistance training workouts a week. And this was basically an interview of 15 physically active seniors for the project. But we know from talking to also people all the time that it's pretty accurate on a grand scale.
This whole thing hits like right on the nose for most people.
Yeah. And their awareness of the guidelines was started and ended with aerobic activities.
Go for a walk.
Not a single one of them knew the guidelines included training for strength 2 times a week. And I guarantee you, if we took 100 people that did not listen to this podcast, does not listen to this podcast,
a large majority of them would do the same thing or say the same thing.
Literally, it is in our physical activity guidelines 2 resistance training, full body, strength workouts a week. But we know, like less than... Well, only 17% meet all the guidelines, and probably like less than 10 do the strength training.
Aren't even close.
But we understand why too. That's the other cool thing. And as you know, like our mission with our gym, we set out to fix it 9 years ago, right? But not just us talking. We'll dive into this study, which literally backs up what our hunch was. So not a single one of them, like we mentioned, even knew that it was included in the guidelines, the 2 strength workouts a week. And when told about the recommendations, the interviewees described a bleak picture of them standing alone in a traditional gym, lifting a weight, lowering it down. They viewed gyms as like a hostile territory and saw resistance training as boring and pointless. They also felt insulted and
infantilized.
So they also, why would someone who walks for miles and takes yoga classes need to work out? Right. And then a lot of people, when they think of strength training and working out in that regard, they're like, well, you're sitting, right? You're sitting
especially
on a bench.
Senior specific stuff too, where they do chair workouts.
Yep.
Which I understand how that's infantilizing. Like you don't have the ability to do anything else. You need to sit in this chair and do this workout.
Yeah. Which we know you don't need to treat seniors like they need progressive.
They don't need kid gloves.
They need they need the same training a 20-year-old would do.
And then modify accordingly.
Exactly.
That's it.
So, but they don't have to sit there and just do air leg extensions.
And half-pound weights.
So, which then, the Research Insider mentions, brings to the crucial question of how do we... So you see right there, most of them, or all of them, didn't know it was recommended. And then when it is brought up, there's a ton of negative connotations with it, right? So Yeah, people don't do it. So how do we make, so the researchers then, with that, how do we make resistance training more appealing to the people who would benefit the most from it? And that's something we've talked about before. People think there's no point of doing it. They think the whole benefit of resistance training is like big muscles.
Yeah, like looking like a bodybuilder.
So I'm not in my 20s, I'm 60. Why there's, I don't need to do it. But the reality is you would benefit from it the most. The reality is, and we've seen this, that's why we set out, when you hit your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, that's when you need it more than ever. You actually can kind of maintain or have some when you're younger, from hormones being at their peak and things like that.
And maybe being a little more active naturally, playing sports, whatever it may be.
Exactly. So the reality is you want to overcome those aspects that make you not want to do it, right? That's really where, and the unfortunate thing is the fitness industry just focuses on the people who are all about it, right? Like, so, let's dive into competing at high levels with lifting weights and doing all and let's help those people. And then everyone else,
they're left in the dust.
Who doesn't do it gets no attention, right? When the reality is they need to be sold the benefits.
Like, let's convince these people that this is like good for their health.
So then the study's co-authors, they basically make two arguments, right? One is you got to sell the benefits of resistance training, right? There are benefits. This is why it's recommended, and they're underappreciated, undersold, especially to the generation of older adults, right? Obviously people in their 60s and 70s, so they were coming up when they were in their 20s and 30s and 40s. Was what, like the 80s, 70s, 70s, 80s.
And exercise looked very different.
I mean, it was just Arnold Schwarzenegger
and step aerobics.
And that was the problem, right?
That was it.
So resistance training was completely associated with like bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Well, so if you didn't want to be a bodybuilder, you didn't want. Yeah. Well, I'm not going to do that.
And to everybody, those are show muscles. Like they don't even help you. They just look good.
So. Gotta understand the benefits of resistance training.
And we've done a number of episodes on that too.
And we'll review. And then the process of training for strength, right? It's a lot of people, you get on and you maybe see Olympic lifting or power lifting and all these variables.
And these complex, you got to do these percentages at this time. And it's so complex.
Yep.
And the barrier for that is hard for people to, I guess, wrap their mind around.
So... by overcoming those, people not knowing the benefits and it seeming complex, they need help with knowing the benefits and seeing how simple it can be, right?
If you know me, you know I'm always on the run, up early and home late, so having a 3-hour morning routine isn't really in the cards for me. What is in the cards is AG1. It's a fast way to get vitamins and minerals I need to perform. I first gave AG1 a try because I wanted a single solution that helps support my entire body by filling in nutrient gaps and simplifying my morning routine. Since drinking AG1 daily, I've always felt strong and energized and ready to attack the day. Not only does AG1 deliver my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, and more, it's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. It's one scoop mixed in water once a day and every day. I know that AG1 is giving my body high-quality nutrition. Every batch of AG1 goes through a rigorous testing process, so you know that it's safe. And AG1 ingredients are sourced for absorption, potency, and nutrition density. AG1 is a supplement that I trust to provide the support my body needs daily, and that's why I'm excited to welcome them as a new partner. Here is your chance to start every day this season with a gift to yourself. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/provengrit. That's drinkag1.com/provengrit. Check it out.
So, as we know and have talked about, to start, the benefits of resistance training largely, they can be broken down into dozens of specific benefits, but you're going to improve your body composition, less fat, more lean mass. You're going to improve metabolic function, faster glucose clearance, accelerated protein turnover. Essentially what that means is we'll process our food more efficiently and beneficially, right? And then improved functional abilities, more strength, better balance, and mobility.
Yeah.
Function,
So, and as we get older, like falling is a huge risk, and it's just a good way to give yourself some insurance on that.
Yeah. And remember, these are benefits separate in addition to walking. This is why, like, you can't just walk. You can't just do low intensity aerobic stuff. You will not get these same benefits. They are unique to resistance training and key, right? Expect to aging well. So there's one, right? Like, there are benefits. You need to value them to where, like, you have to understand if you're not resistance training, you decide to not do it, you're massively missing out.
You're leaving a lot on the table.
It needs to be, I need to do this, right? And then what the authors came to was, hopefully you're not skeptical anymore. You value it, even if you're older and you're being introduced to it. And then from there, most people, especially the older clients, are best served with 2 simple training sessions a week. Man.
2 full body days.
A basic program that hits and these are the researchers. This isn't us, because you're going to be rolling your eyes. Because
you're like, damn, did you guys write this? We are authors on this paper.
Give them a basic program that hits all the major movement patterns and muscle groups using whatever equipment they're most comfortable with.
So that means it could be machines, it could be dumbbells, it could be cables, it could be their own body weight. Like, it's endless. It's not like one set of equipment's better than another. It's literally whatever they feel most confident doing.
And one thing I want to point out is you need a basic program that hits all the major movement patterns and muscle groups. A lot of times what happens when people go do stuff, and so stuff could be sold as like resistance training, but it's essentially just aerobics, right? If you're doing you do like a push-up into a hoppity, skippity, doo-dah, and you're basically flopping around, and because you're maybe holding some dumbbells or did something, that doesn't mean that a lot of that stuff is just aerobic. You're not actually putting your each muscle group through a full range, challenging with tension onto your muscles, joints, and ligaments. So you can easily go and do some stuff and be sold one thing, and you're not checking these boxes, right? So again, get a basic program that hits all the major movement patterns and muscle groups. What is that? Upper body push, right? That's going to work chest, shoulders, triceps. Upper body pull, that's going to work back, biceps. Or from a movement pattern standpoint, that's a horizontal pull, right? And then you can do a vertical pull, so where your arms are pulling from over your head. Vertical push. Then you have like hip dominant exercises.
So like a deadlift or RDL, something like that.
Yep. Or you could do and you need to do knee dominant exercises for the movement pattern, which are then like squats, variations of squats. Then you have some single joint stuff, right? So like at the elbow joint, if you're pushing down, that's your triceps. Pulling towards your body,
biceps.
That's your biceps. At just your elbow joint,
and then same for the legs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, knee. So then you have your knee, right? So we just talked about hip dominant, knee dominant. Same thing. You can also do single joint. Like a squat is actually a knee, technically knee and hip. You're moving at both joints. Then you have like leg extension, leg curl, which could be just the knee. So working through those patterns, and there's gonna be another key point. So now you're checking that box. You know what? I value this. This is important. I'm going to do it. 2, I'm now doing a basic program that hits all the major movement patterns and muscle groups using whatever equipment you're most comfortable with. Then 3 is, this is in this isn't just us saying this. They want the researchers, authors, hey, make sure you understand one key principle, which is your effort, your intensity. On at least one set of each exercise, you need to push yourself to the point where you can't do another repetition with good form. You have to work at that intensity to challenge these systems, right?
Yep.
And like we said, like muscles, joints, ligaments. And if that's too much, encourage them to keep going until their working muscles feel tapped out, right? So again, you're working to an intensity close to failure, right? And you don't need to do it a ton. You don't need to do it on every set. You don't need to do it 1,000 times.
Just like per exercise, one set.
Yeah. So, you don't have to do this with, and it's actually not recommended with like 1 rep max, or even 2, 3, really somewhere between like 6 to 15 reps, probably 20 at the most.
Anything above 20, like
it turns into your cardio system could give out.
Yeah, and it's the discomfort too can stop you before you actually hit fatigue.
Yeah, muscular
or
fatigue.
Failure.
Yeah. So again, now let's revert back through. So now we have 4 steps essentially. 1, being aware and valuing resistance training.
Got to do it.
Then, hey, I need to do 2 full body workouts a week. And for most people, especially for older clients, that's not even like, try to get by. You're probably best served with those 2 simple training sessions a week of a basic program that hits all the major movement patterns and muscle groups using whatever equipment you're most comfortable with. Check, check, check. And then ensuring on at least 1 set of each of those exercises, you push yourself to the point where you can't do another repetition with good form.
Boom.
There it is.
And that's how you get stronger. That's how you build muscle and improve all of these things that we're talking about.
We said, that's it. That's how you improve body composition, improve metabolic. So both those things have nothing to do. Improve body composition, so less fat, more lean mass. Most people know what that is. But then the other 2 are ones that everyone overlooks and forgets. Improved metabolic function, right? Like you're going to be able to handle carbs better and process your food,
which has just big health ramifications for the rest of your life.
Yeah, yeah. And then improving functional abilities. Like at the end of the, more strength, better balance, and mobility. Look, at the end of the day, our bones, we do things. We're a system of levers, and we have to move our bones to do things.
So the muscles they're the movers.
Our muscles move our bones. So if you have poor muscle, you have low muscle, poor quality, you're weak, you're going to then struggle to move your bones, right? And which then leaves you susceptible to tons of issues, right? And then when you can't move your bones well, and your muscles are weak, it may put more strain and stress on your joints and ligaments. Well, then that leads to joint and ligament issues, right? And then you can end up, with chronic pain
or like tearing a rotator cuff.
Yeah. Or you're not able to get into certain positions and express strength in those positions, right? Which then leads to your body not wanting to allow you into those positions, which then that's how poor mobility, right? So all of this, encountering it comes through strength training.
Yeah. And another thing too, like we've touched on it before, but like we mentioned, like pushing to like close to failure on your exercises for your bone density. That's also really important because if you're not, basically your muscle pulls on the bone. This is one aspect of it. It pulls on the bone when it works, and that challenges that bone, and your body essentially will, adapt and build it up. But unless we're pushing a good amount on our exercises, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So you don't get that from really low impact, very light weights. We're talking relatively, but it just doesn't happen. So we have to force that so that, our bones are getting stronger or staying at least as strong as they are as we do all this stuff.
Yeah. Can't stress it enough.
I mean, it's important.
Yeah. And we're realized too, we're talking like, people are completely unaware of this, and then we the bigger problem, right? So let's get into that, is then even if people are aware of it, they normally have negative associations with gyms and strength training.
Yeah, like gyms are for, oh, I'm not a workout person, or I don't want to be big and bulky, or it's just intimidating.
Yeah. And then like some takeaways were, for one, you have to help clients overcome that, right? So the stress of trying to figure out what to do, what they're supposed to do, how they're supposed to do it. And this is why simple resistance training programs or like a program like our gym, Coastal Strength and Fitness, where the program's already made, so you just need to show up.
And you're coached through it and someone's telling you what you're doing.
Exactly. Another major benefit of that is, and that the authors talk about is, then it frees up cognitive resources for effort you can use in other areas. For example, nutrition and lifestyle modifications. And we tell people that, and we've talked about it on the podcast, do like a effective minimum, because most people only have but so much time, right? So if you only have a few hours and we know, hey, we need to be getting our steps in, we need to be getting our 2 resistance training workouts in, don't just jump necessarily to doing more exercise at that point. It may be more beneficial to save that mental energy and extra time to address preparing more meals at home, right? Or ways to de-stress and recover and relax.
Finding ways to get better sleep, having a better routine. All those things are really important.
Exactly. So if if you have a stick to a simple program that is actually effective, hopefully it makes you lower your stress in and of itself. You're not like trying to, just be stressed about even just going to the gym and feeling like out of place.
When you can take some barriers out of the way, that's our whole goal. Is let's remove these barriers. We program the workouts, we coach people through it, modify it. So then people aren't stressed. They don't walk in the door and they're like, oh my God, what am I going to do today? I don't know how to do this. And then you see before people even start their workout, they're cranked up to a 10 as far as stress goes and mental energy. And you're just not going to be able to stick to that.
Yep. So if you're keeping it simple, if you're focusing on the effective basics, it essentially helps multiply your ability to make progress, because then you're able to give more brain power and effort towards nutrition and lifestyle modifications.
Yeah. I think keeping it simple, I think, is actually sometimes a harder thing to do, especially coaching wise. I think a lot of coaches get caught up trying to overcomplicate and almost flex the principles that we know, and we're going to do these percentages and we're going to progress this way and it's the perfect program. But then realizing that there's people that that's overwhelming for them. Yeah. That's not going to serve them at all. What's actually going to serve them is, let's get the most simple thing that we can come up with that's going to be effective for them. And that's hard. It's the same. I'd draw a straight line over to making people tired is easy in a workout. It's not hard.
Yeah, if I told you, Will, we had a little whiteboard in here and you just roll in, I'm like, I want you to go run 2 laps around this building and then do 15 burpee jumps onto that bench and then 10 push-ups and then rest 30 seconds and repeat it 5 more times.
Yeah. At the end of the day,
I'm going to
be smoked, but what am I getting out of that exactly?
Yeah.
So it's just, I think it's often overlooked how great simplicity can be. And you know what, dude? I have my, maybe disagreements with it, but starting strength has its merits. Yeah. Right? It's a program. It's barbell based.
Which would be the issue, right? And the authors talk about that. So starting strength, basic movements, but they're they get really big on you have to use a barbell.
Exactly.
Nothing is
so
the same.
Framework I dig, because it's full body workouts. You're doing the basic movement patterns, and for them it's 3 days a week. Yeah. So it's a little different than what we're talking about. But overall, it's super simple. It's foolproof doing it. They have 5 exercises generally.
Yeah, it gets a little they repeat the same stuff though, and it's
yeah.
I mean, I it would be bench press three times a week. So, but
having that simple framework, it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it.
Yeah,
and then you just, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to keep it super simple, and then you give yourself a good foundation and confidence to build off of.
So, And it's probably actually misses some of the movement patterns because it's only 3 things. I mean, the reality is we don't even, for most people, especially, it's like, look, you just need 2 workouts, have an upper body push, an upper body pull, a lower body hip dominant and knee dominant. And
that's really all we need if we're being real.
So, and, I think most people, a little variety, so like, if you have the 2 workouts, make them different exercises.
Exactly.
So you just be a little bit different angles and things like that. And then, whether you do a dumbbell bench press, a machine press, a barbell press, like find ones that fit your structure or make you feel better, or what's available to you.
And that you feel comfortable doing, too.
And then again, so this has been our, for 9 years, crafting the gym, the program towards, and we've always said, we like to say we take that weight training area out of a Globo gym and put it in a setting where people will be, who would normally not do it, will feel more comfortable, right? So how do we do that? Well, for one, our program's mostly people that are 40 and up. So right there, you're around people similar. Then the workouts are already planned and designed. So yes, we already know, we put everything into it. We know our workouts are, full body, simple, cover all your movement patterns. So cool. Now you don't have to think about that. Right. Then you schedule your workout time. So you're getting accountability to actually show up. And then for group training, we have more equipment than any other program by far.
For
right?
sure.
Like a lot of places will just have dumbbells or in body weight stuff. Right. Whereas we have cables, dumbbells, kettlebells, barbells, different variations of trap bars,
sleds.
So if someone, they're not comfortable. So it comes back to where they talk about, that principle of the 2 strength training basic program, major movement patterns and muscle groups using whatever equipment you're most comfortable with.
Yeah.
So we have a client, they're not comfortable with a trap bar deadlift. Maybe they're really petite and small framed and the trap bar deadlift is kind of wide, right?
Yeah, so it's just weird for them to hold.
Not comfortable. No problem. We'll do a kettlebell deadlift.
So you got a kettlebell between your feet. It's way easier to hold.
Yeah.
You can start lighter too. So that might be a perfect fit for them. And we do that often.
Yeah. So first, you got to just say, this is important. I need to do this. And for some people, they can print out a program online, roll over to Globo Gym. Oh, it doesn't matter that there's 40 people over there and like 30 of them are the college football kids and then like 8 bodybuilders and then 2 models, right? They're fine. They're cool. I'll get in. I'll do this workout. Oh, and I also know, I feel confident in executing these exercises right. And that's awesome, right?
But that's not most people.
But most people, and then you get into, and this was specifically, towards seniors, they didn't come up in their younger years with gyms on every corner.
Yeah, and it wasn't like something that you did, especially like women in strength training. That's come a long way. But like if you were, a woman in the 70s, like you were doing maybe aerobics, but you were supposed to be petite and thin and not bulky and all this stuff.
And then all those women from the 70s now have osteopenia, and issues with scarcopenia, low muscle mass, low bone density. Guess why? And they did tons of walking, tons of aerobics.
Just loss of muscle mass because they never challenged that. And, that was a cultural thing. That's really hard to get around those things to where it's just like drilled into your head. So sometimes no matter the information you're presented now, 50 years of conditioning's hard to break.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's tough. But I will say, it's good because again, I see all the new people that come into the gym. We get more people that are in their 50s, 60s, 70s whose doctors are like, you need to strength train.
Yeah.
Like you need to find a gym and do some basic strength training and build some muscle. And I love it.
But then unfortunately on the flip side, we get tons of people who are like, they hit any roadblock, and they're like, I'll just stop.
Yeah. I'll just not do this anymore.
And it's like,
are you just going to lose all that muscle you built?
And look, you don't work out for 3 weeks. Like you're not losing a ton of muscle. You're not really losing strength.
But if you don't work out for 6 months, you're losing muscle mass.
Yeah. And then the bigger thing now, and you're now building the opposite habits, right? So now you're just digging a deeper hill to climb out of, right? So, for most people who succeed long term, it's a priority. Now they may like we talk about, don't use a switch. Like don't go on off, use a dial. Yeah, maybe sometime you can come 4 days a week, you know, and it can be almost like your personality and lifestyle. But then sometimes, yeah, a lot of stuff happens, right? Kids, work, etc.
And you can only come twice.
Yeah. Well, don't turn it off.
Yeah, come twice.
Dial it back, come twice. Or even once. Because, you know, like we said, 2 is probably more ideal, but 1, you're still getting benefits. You're still, especially if you've been doing stuff, you can maintain with once a week.
Once can maintain you.
You're maintaining it as a priority. You're maintaining your, you know, all the things we talked about. And it keeps you plugged in, you know. Whereas if you go to off, who knows, you know, that could be, next thing you know, 4 years have gone by.
Like, oh man, and yeah, you gain weight.
And you're playing those head games with, I gotta start over and this and that, and you're being mean to yourself.
Yeah, just keep it as a habit and dial it back and dial it up accordingly, depending on where your life's at.
And realize, keeping it simple is most effective. And if you're always looking to be like entertained from this stuff, you're just looking at it wrong. You know, it has to be, because there's only so much you can do effectively, right? And it's just, everything will get boring if you do it. Like we know, okay, we need to do this 10, 30, 40, 50 years.
There's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
You're not going to keep doing new variations of exercises until the end of your life.
And then you get to where, like, well, then are you sacrificing the actual benefits? Yes.
To just have
you
fun?
can be, if you're like, this style of workout is boring now. I'm going to go do
this other thing,
Zumba, right? Zumba, all this other stuff is fine, adjacent, but they're not going to replace
strength training,
the value of strength training.
They're not.
So
it's got to be its own, like it's its own thing that everybody needs in some form.
Yeah.
And all of the other activities, your Zumbas, your yogas, all those practices or whatever you want to call them, they're great in addition to your basic resistance training. So if you do want to do multiple things, set your base at your 2 strength training workouts, and then you might have like, I do yoga on this day, and then I go to Zumba class on this day, and that's enough to fulfill you.
Or and run half marathons, right, and train for that. But if you're just running half marathons and not doing your strength training,
you're doing yourself a disservice.
Because doing your strength training as your base is also going to allow you and enable you to run better and like give you a better chance to do that hobby and love like longer into life.
And to keep you injury free.
Yeah.
The stronger you are, like the stronger your muscles, your joints, like you're going to recover better and you're just going to take the impact better of something like that.
If you know me, you know I'm always on the run, up early and home late. So having a 3-hour morning routine isn't really in the cards for me. What is in the cards is AG1. It's a fast way to get vitamins and minerals I need to perform. I first gave AG1 a try because I wanted a single solution that helps support my entire body by filling in nutrient gaps and simplifying my morning routine. Since drinking AG1 daily, I've always felt strong and energized and ready to attack the day. Not only does AG1 deliver my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, and more, it's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. It's 1 scoop mixed in water once a day and every day. I know that AG1 is giving my body high-quality nutrition. Every batch of AG1 goes through a rigorous testing process, so you know that it's safe. And AG1 ingredients are sourced for absorption, potency, and nutrition density. AG1 is a supplement that I trust to provide the support my body needs daily, and that's why I'm excited to welcome them as a new partner. Here is your chance to start every day this season with a gift to yourself. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/provengrit. That's drinkag1.com/provengrit. Check it out.
So there it is.
Strength train, man.
Strength train.
So share this with your grandma. Share it with your grandpa.
Yeah. And again, in this study and with these authors, it was with seniors. But, I mean, really anyone 40 and over, like,
You need it.
You need it. We notice most people almost after the age of like 30, it's like they think it's like not, what's the point?
Yeah, which is nuts.
Yeah.
Because we've seen people in their 50s and 60s transform and make this a priority.
I don't want to be bulky. I don't want muscly. I don't want to be muscly and bulky. And then literally don't even
entertain the idea
conceptualize.
Of it.
Yeah, like and the reality is like, the reality is you need to be doing it for the rest of your life.
Yep.
And you're hung up on being bulky, right? Like, which we've talked about in past.
Like you're not going to be bulky.
That's not even that's not even close to being accurate. So there you have it. Keep it simple. Let's, last reminder. It's as simple as knowing the benefits, appreciating the benefits, and then you want to twice a week
show up, man.
Show up, do the simple training sessions of a basic program that hits all the major movement patterns and muscle groups using whatever equipment you're most comfortable with, and making sure to, on at least one set of each exercise, push yourself to the point where you can't do another repetition with good form. And then asterisk there, this is where coaching helps too. The good form part's important. You don't just, you may have to change your entire body English to keep going. No, when you have to change your form, then that is the technical
failure.
Task failure, right? You can't complete the task as given anymore. And it is perfectly fine and normal, really. In the beginning, you're focusing on building the coordination and learning good form, right? So you don't necessarily have to load a ton when you're starting out, right? You want to get comfortable, get confident, build the coordination, the neural pathways,
so that you can safely and effectively do the movement.
Then once the good form is established, then you're really starting to push yourself, with weight and repetitions and things like that, right? But even then, don't sacrifice your form. Make sure that's established, and then you build on it from there. There we have it.
That's it.
Just do this every week. Harp on it.
Twice a week, do your workouts.
Yep.
That's it.
And really, we should just podcast about this every week.
Just every week, the same thing, repackaged.
I mean, if we could get anything across, it's this.
It's just important.
And just knowing the value, right? So you don't quit. Because then you may figure all this out and just stop. And then what good is it? So it's got to be up there on.
It's got to be on the priority list.
Yeah, on the priority list.
Like you brush your teeth every day so that your teeth don't fall out when you're 60 years old.
And again, if less fat, more lean mass, better glucose clearance, protein turnover, strength, balance, mobility,
better bones,
none of those things aren't a priority, then
if that doesn't sound appealing to you, then don't do it.
But if you also wonder why when people age, they get frail, weak, poor energy, digestive issues.
That's why.
Yeah.
They're not doing these things. Mm-hmm. Everything starts slowing down and breaking down and doesn't work as well as it used to. So keep your system running strong.
There we go.
Lift a weight.
Pick it up, put it down.
I mean, that is what it is.
It is boring.
As much of a joke as that was, that is kind of what you're doing.
Yeah. But you know what? And for someone who's, done it really consistently, I guess, since I was about 19. Mm-hmm. So, 20 years, it becomes more of a meditative process.
I love it.
If I think about it too much, my body's not going to change much. I've already got all those benefits. I'm not going to see drafts. Like you said, there's only so many ways you can do it. So how do you just keep doing it and never? It's because it's a time where I got to go, shut everything out, and be in tune with my body, focus on that form. You have to be checked in to be pushing yourself close to failure. So it helps. It's meditative.
You're nice and present.
Yeah, you're present. It's my form, right? So find that for yourself in it,
And then just kind of enjoying the process of it.
Yeah.
Like it's just,
it's what we're meant to do. We weren't meant to sit.
We're meant to move, man.
And do nothing and not challenge our muscles and bones.
It's good to be able to express it, and go out and do those things. And I mean, we've done the same thing for a long time. And I don't ever get bored by it. Like I freaking love it, and just, the trying to get better and trying to maintain where I'm at, all that kind of stuff is just super appealing. But you have to you have to like the process. You have to learn to love it and not just have your eye on like, oh, I'm just doing this so I'm, look good for my cruise.
Yeah.
Like it has to be a lifelong thing.
Yeah, you have to think of your future self. You know, if I stop, my future self is going to regret it. Mm-hmm. And right now,
we see that all the time.
Yeah, you may not regret it right now, today, but then you remind yourself, future self, though, they're going to regret.
They're going to regret it. We get that a lot. I haven't worked out in 15, 20 years, and I don't like where I'm at. Mm-hmm. That's all too common that we have that person come in.
Yep. So there we have it.
Stuff's important. Like I said, tell your granny.
Tell your G-Paul. Tell your mommy.
And if they need to be convinced, tell them to come see me.
Tell your daddy. Tell your poppy.
Bring them in. Bring them in.
Tell your ice cream poppy.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
All right. We appreciate you for listening.
Yep. Catch you next time.
As always, thanks for listening, guys. If you want to learn more, check us out at coastalfitnessva.com or garydeagle.com. We'll see you next time.